What's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Live podcast. My name's Joey Gamon, aka Chicago Joey. We're starting officially, unofficially, super high roller bowl week here on the podcast. We're going to be having on many of the players that are going to be playing in next Sunday's show. Monday, Matt Berkey. Tuesday, Phil Hellmuth. Thursday, Mike McDonald. Technically not playing in the show, but we're going to talk to him all about the show. And Friday, Jason Kuhn. And then we also are going to have Pratush Badiga as well on the show. And then next Saturday, we're doing a fantasy draft special. We drafting players from the show. And then Sunday is officially the show. Joining me today is a man who is a legend of the poker world, has given us hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of poker entertainment. He's produced some of my and everyone else's all-time favorite poker shows, High Stakes Poker, Poker After Dark, work with the World Series of Poker. I think there's like 7 or 8 awesome shows he's put together. He's also one of the main producers of Super High Roller Bowl. And now I got to be honest, I really want to find out exactly what the producer of the show means. I feel like it's the guy at that top who makes all the decisions. And he's also a longtime poker player himself. I don't know if he plays the great game of Potland Omaha, but I think he does. And we're going to find out more about that. We're joined by Mori Eskandani. What's happening, Mori? Welcome officially to the Poker Live
Hey,
podcast.
glad to be here. Thank you.
So Mori, what is a producer of these shows, right? How can one man put on all these great poker shows? Because I just don't understand. How can one guy be responsible for High Stakes Poker, Poker After Dark, and all these great shows that have existed in poker over these past 10, 11 plus years?
Well, it'll be truly unfair if you say one man.
I know. There's always a team too. So I was like, I mean, I know, but still, like you're kind of. I mean, I don't know. You know.
I bet. First of all, I've been very lucky to have so many people smarter than me that could have fixed my internet problem today that are not here right now around me. And many of the shows, when you're playing poker, if you're a poker player, you'll come across situations when you're playing, and they'll be appealing to the players and to the railbirds. I always viewed as television audience, as people that like to come and sweat the game. What do you give the sweater? I mean, just imagine you're playing in the poker room and there's a rail and there's 8 people playing and nobody says one word and nobody plays a hand. That rail bird is going to stay there, or shouldn't say rail, but a sweater will stay there no more than 3 minutes, he's gone. But as soon as there's some sort of a commotion, as soon as there's any kind of fun discussions or big hands, you can't peel the guy off. They want to watch that game. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've had people, pretty notable people, the biggest name in my career that I will never forget was Bill Gates. He actually came and sat behind me, and I'm not making this up. We were playing 150-3 at the Mirage. And he sat behind me from midnight to 6 a.m. sweating that game. Wow. Because we had a lot of fun playing. There was always some sort of a laughter and a soft needle, clever needles I called, was going around. And he was fascinated that the game kept changing. And we were just playing horse. It wasn't like today's games where there's 18 plaques on the table. That's what we were playing. But we were playing horse, and he was absolutely fascinated. So that's what it takes. For television, you have to think the same way. Many of the tournaments, many of the cash games, which ones do you remember? If you think about it, which ones, I mean, yeah, of course, sometimes cards can create a crazy scenario, but you always remember that other fun stuff that happened between the players.
I can recite by memory some very famous high stakes poker hands between Sam Farha, Patrick Antonius, Sam Farha, and Jamie Gold, of course, the aces versus kings. I mean, man, those hands are so. Those lines. Dole asking him, "Are you sleeping with the guy? Why don't you put them all in?" I mean, it's a great. I mean, come on, it's a great line. Dude. Are you sleeping with the guy? I mean, dude, it's just. Oh man, I love high stakes poker. Mori, I'm gonna follow that up. First of all, how do you know Bill Gates? How does Bill Gates come to the table and end up watching this game? How does that possibly happen?
He was obviously he was interested in poker, and he used to come. He's not coming around anymore, and I do not know him. It's not like we're friends or anyone.
Hmm.
I was the executive host at the Mirage Poker Room,
Okay.
but I also played there all the time. And that happened to be the game that was going late at night. And prior to that, there was a bigger game going. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. Maybe 4 and 800, or 1 and 2000, and Doyle and Chip and that game. And Bill Gates was playing $3 and $6 limit hold'em. Now, people kept trying to send him messages that there are bigger games. And nobody could exactly understand that when you are worth 60, 70 billion, there really is no difference between $3 and $6 limit hold'em or $3,000 or $6,000 limit hold'em. It would make no difference. So he liked poker. He was enjoying himself. And then just walking around, he looked at our game and he noticed that there were plaques there. And he just asked. He said, yeah, we were just like a poker player walking around. It was amazing. I mean, the experience was amazing how down to earth this man was. As a matter of fact, in 2 separate incidents, he got up once when the cocktail waitress brought everybody's drinks. He picked their tea, hot teas and Coke from her tray and put it in front of the guys. And then one of the guys was eating something or whatever, and he had a napkin and threw it and missed the garbage can. And he got up and picked it up and put it in the trash can. I'm not making this up. This was like something I never forget. I had him sign this little booklet that I have, which I still have, and then I send him a whole bunch of books, hoping to get him interested. I mean, here's a guy that can really shift things around in any industry, right? Mm-hmm. And he never responded.
Well, Bill, if you're out there watching this right now, please get in touch with Mori. You can find his phone number, I'm sure, through someone out there, and he'd love to chat with you and maybe get you on Super High Rollerball. We got a seat open, man. Bobby Baldwin just dropped out. We got a seat open at Super High Rollerball. And
mixed games have gone from 4 or 5 to 40 or 50 different kinds of mixed games. You name it. Every time I go to the poker room, there's a new mixed game somebody made up.
Yeah, there's the mixtures that being played in some of these games are crazy. And it makes sense because some of the more experienced players, they're going to have an edge against other regulars who just don't know how to play some. I don't even know some of the names they make up. So I understand why people are constantly making up new games. And I definitely understand the appeal of it.
Well, I always thought, here we are, we made Coca-Cola really famous on TV, and you open up your shop, and what do you put in there? You're putting there Dr. Pepper, some crazy other drinks that, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, but nobody knows them. We made No Limit Hold'em really well known all over the world. I always thought, well, there you are, poker players. Open up your shops and stack it with No Limit Hold'em. You'll have all sort of customers. I never thought all the biggest games are going to be all these crazy, what I call bad games, Badesi, Badoogie, all the VAD games, and plus all the, you've seen them. There's literally one game was showing up every week for last year that I would go to the poker room, and I looked at the faces. I kept thinking about, are they ever going to get players? I mean, we need new players. Mm-hmm. That's what gets poker going. I have to be wrong, because these games have survived, thrived. People are still playing it, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but they're there. They're not going anywhere. It didn't go down, and the number of games are going up.
Yeah, it could be something where I think maybe people just want a new challenge too. So as you mentioned, Hold'em's been going on. Now the craze has been here. It's been going on for quite a long time. I think certain players, they probably play Hold'em, play PLO, and they just want a new challenge. They want to do something else, especially if they're playing 5-6 days a week. And then probably there's more regulars who maybe have some more a voice or control of the game, and they bring up these other games, and some of the more timid reserve players just sort of agree with it, and they adapt, or they want the challenge. And I feel like that's probably how these games survive, is they have a really good guy who's in charge of the games, and good at getting in regulars and good at getting in new players and convincing them to play. And I would imagine that's probably how they still exist in some casinos.
Well, I've adopted a simple rule. Whatever the 20-year-olds are doing, that's what is right. I'm not trying to figure it out anymore. They've figured it out. Just go with it. So whatever is popular between the younger group, I'm all for it.
So it sounds like you're going to be producing a esports show very soon if you haven't done that already, because that's what's really popular amongst the kids these days. They're all into the esports now.
It is amazing how big that industry is. Yes, we're going to be. I mean, again, I hate to say I am producing it. I'm more like the guy that goes, gets your coffee, and gives you encouragement so you can figure out the problems and make sure the audio is working, the internet is up and running. You have enough bandwidth, and the games are formatted correctly, and it's making sense. I'm not a gamer. I'm not going to understand those games, but I will know how to put a good group together to make it happen. We had one show, Champions of Fire, last year that was really well received. It was pretty exciting, and I tried to learn as much about the casual games that they played in there to get into the mode of the competition. And then now games like Hearthstone, League of Legends, Vainglory, Summoner's War, all these games are obviously they have huge base of players, and I personally think sky's the limit. These games are not going anywhere. They're just going to grow, and there was like a seismic shift of games underneath me that I couldn't feel it. I feel like a total idiot when I walk into a room and I see 40,000 kids going crazy, and I have no idea. And I'm a gamer. I like to play game ever since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And not knowing about these games, say, come on, man, wake up. If the 20-year-olds are playing, you better learn, or you're going to fall behind.
I'm 100% positive you officially know much more about video games and esports than I do, because I don't know any of the games you just said. So I'm like, man, you're definitely up to date, and I can tell you got the you're staying with it. You're staying in tune for sure.
I know the terminologies. I know the names because I need to reference them. I need to find a producer that understands those games and does. And fortunately, there's I've been lucky enough to find the right people.
So I guess we'll talk about high rollerball. We'll start up with that because we got that coming up here. So what do you think makes? Because okay, I don't really watch no home tournaments. I just haven't watched it in a while. I watched the main event, of course, because the main event is pretty epic. But last year's Super High Roller Bowl, I watched the entire time. I watched all the days. I watched all the action. I was super excited. Me and my friends were sweating. We're like chatting. We're doing all this stuff. We're like trying to find a way to, how do we get CBS Sports here from this like cabana here in California? Like, how do we do it? Shout out to Higgins, by the way. You streamed it on Periscope last year. Hope you're out there again. Higgins, of course. That might be against TOS. We don't want to talk about that. But what makes a Super High Roller Bowl to you? What makes this such a... Like, I'm excited for it this year. I can't wait for it to start. I'm pumped up. I'm going to do, like, recap shows after it. What makes Super High Roller Bowl so much different than... I mean, there's a lot of tournament streams out there, right? VPTs and the Poker Star stuff streams all the time, and the World Series stuff. But what makes this such a appointment viewing for poker fans out there?
Well, if you go back, this is closest example I can think of. If you go back to I don't know, 1970, 71, 72, somewhere there were World Series of Poker folks. They said let's have the guys that play this game in such a high level come in and put some serious money down to do, like to compete, see who's going to be the best in the world, blah, blah, blah. Let's how much? Let's say 10,000. That was a big number. I mean, and who did you get? You got people like Johnny Moss, Doyle Bronson, Bobby Baldwin, Puggy Pearson. I mean, everyone that to this day, if I'm sure, I mean, I shouldn't say to this day because I'm sure the kids don't know, but if you go back like 10, 15 years, these guys' names never went away. They always played the game at a very high level, and people learned from them. People learned watching, even without hole cards, just watching how they behaved, what did they drink? Like it was important. Just what you could grab. None of them ever had any alcohol at the table. They were drinking tea, or like they're playing long hours. How they focused they were in the game. Now, of course, you learn from the best players a lot. You get a lot more information because the information is out there. what makes Super High Roller Bowl, to me, such a must watch or must support event is it's another birth of same thing. Just how did Super High Roller Bowl happen? I'm sure there were all top players and saying, we get together, we play this. Let's just have like a tournament of tournaments where we put down some serious money and play it. So how much? 300,000. Okay, that's a nice little number. Now we had 49 players. Now we got 56 players. I think the cap is 56 players, and they're putting up $300,000. I just don't think anybody's going to walk into No Limit Arena and put up $300,000. That's not a great player. I mean, or even if they're not great players, they have incredible feel for the game. Right. There's no chance they're sitting out there and doing it. They're really wealthy people with incredible feel for the game, and sometimes that even makes them more dangerous than some of the pros that either pieced out or they're coming in and trying to play poker, but in the back of their head, the dollar still plays a little bit of tricks on them, while these other wealthy businessmen that are playing, they're playing pure poker.
So who came up with the way the format is too? Because I definitely think that's a really good point about what makes this the best is you have the best players in the world. And you also have, some businessmen thrown in there who aren't afraid to mix it up. These aren't guys going to be scared of money. And it sort of does have a nice, interesting mix in that there's a lot of pros, but also there is that few businessmen in there who do play a lot of poker. But in terms of the shot clock, I feel like that was something that just made it infinitely better. The rotating out feature tables, people were actually talking there too. It seemed like they were encouraged to talk. I think there was a dress code as well where people were encouraged to wear some nice presenting clothes. So it seemed like there were these little other elements too. And also the set, by the way, the set is beautiful. It's just has like that really sort of glorious sort of high roller type feel to it, which I think does really make it unique too. And where did all those ideas come from?
Well, again, bits and pieces are put together for any shows that we do. We have very talented set designers, and they've been designing sets for us for many years. You go to them and you say, "Hey, this is the idea. The idea is an opulent, like just the way you described it, a very, very rich set where there's going to be a major battle coming down, and we need a feature table. We need, obviously we need sponsor presentations and all that." And they will come up with a couple ideas and present it to you. You play around a little bit until you like what you seen in their rendering, and it gets built. That's not. I shouldn't say that's something that just happens. It doesn't just happen with us. It happens with any shows. Like look at some of the esports. Stages. They're they're geared to make you feel that arena is there's going to be a big battle coming down. So and it's always exciting part of the shows too. You just can't wait to see what your set is going to look like. You have something in mind. Like for World Series, I always wanted to be able to see an arena where people are walking, like a flow of people in the background. They're just walking, and it didn't exactly come out to be that, but it was close. So you throw something out there. You have other poker players or other associates that throw some ideas. This would be good, and then your stage designer ultimately knows and feels what this is going to look on camera, creates it for you. As far that's for the staging. But more importantly is the formatting of the event. Where did the $300,000 came from? Where did the shot clock came from? That's what makes shows like Super High Roller Bowl unique. It came from poker. I mean, they were all brilliant minds of poker, professionals or non-professionals, that are together all the time, either playing some cash games every day or some tournaments that they keep meeting each other at, and they're talking about it. So of course, you know, when those guys get behind it, the format is going to be incredible. The shot clock is going to be necessary because they know exactly the ingredients that you need to put in there in that recipe of the event for it to shine like Super High Roller does.
Normally, I would say that this all seems obvious, but at the same time, it's not, because it took this many years until something like this actually came up, and it seems obvious to listen to some of the players who do play day in and day out, but it doesn't seem like that's exactly how things have gone in the poker world in terms of listening to players. I mean, especially with some of the bigger sites or with some of the Poker Stars tournaments and those things like that, they don't seem to really listen to the players very often. I think there might be a special occasion. And it does seem like with some of the stuff that you're a part of with, I mean, Poker After Dark, guys, that's a big element, is they take the feedback from the players, and it seems like they really incorporate that into the presentation and the feel of the game. And that's what really makes these games special, is because it does come from players.
Absolutely. And one of the things that have changed with the players, and I'm not taking anything away from the old timers, you know, you have to do what you have to do in the situation that you're in. Poker was a much smaller, much harder grind than it is now. Like there wasn't bases of 200, 300,000 people flowing into the city that you could have a game, or around the globe. There's so many games that are going on. So everyone always tried to come up with the idea that was good for them. What is more suited to my style of play? Is it better to have antes in the game? Is it better to have shorter levels and have the game move faster, or make the antes larger because I feel like I'm a faster player than everybody else that suits my style? And that was always in the back of players' head. If a tournament person, if you go out, if the same people that were behind coming up creating the Super High Roller Bowl, if they'd gone back 30 years, it would have been a different set of rules suggested to them. I think nowadays the top pros are truly looking after the game than after their own interest. I'm sure there's some of that still going on, but mostly when I feel like when I talk to them, they really are looking to be fair. What would make a good event for all, and of course for television.
So during these shows, because was live, I think a 30-minute delay last year with the whole card shown. What are you doing during that? Are you running around like a madman? Are you in the mix? Are you stressed out? Are you got some anxiety flowing through your veins? Like what are you thinking? Day one starts the next Sunday. We get going. We're started up. We're on CBS Sports. We're I think it's on CBS Sports. Sure. Could be wrong. I'm not sure if that's true. But what are you doing during this? You're sitting there like, take me inside that. What's that like?
Live poker, first when we first introduced it, it really was stressful. It is not as much, because as soon as you see the machine, how it works, you just want it to start. So I'm on pins and needles until the cards are off. As soon as the first player looks at their first hand and I see everything is ticking, you know, the commentators are, commentators obviously, just so you know, for all the live shows that we do, commentating is done live, but it's kind of tricky. I have to explain this so I can go back and tell you why the pins and needles situation. When the shows are produced, what you and I are talking about right now, if we were playing poker, this is being stored, and then a third person is looking at it after 30 minutes and commentating on that, and that is going out live.
Right.
So when you hear commentators talking, they really are talking live, except they're talking live on something that happened 30 minutes ago. So I'm on pins and needles until 30 minutes after the show is done, meaning that first we start producing. First, you see everything is working. The RFID system is on. The graphics are coming on correctly. The producer and director, and you can just walk into the control room and look and feel if there's anything wrong or right, just from the way people are sitting. Just, you know, I mean, they have a lot more in their ears from every single technician and engineer than I do, but I can just read their faces. If they're there, they're, you know, like, everything is calm and he's calling the shots and the producer is leading the way, I know everything is fine. And then 30 minutes later, all that has to go in front of your talent in the talent booth, and they start commentating, and somebody says, we are on. That means in the other end, we are actually live on CBS or on Twitch or any other places, and maybe even a bigger stage that's going to be coming up soon. That we're live, and then.
Whoa! What do you mean? What do you mean bigger? What is this? Bigger stage? What are you talking about?
Well, I'm just gonna. I just have to encourage the whole poker world to keep their ears open and internets and pay attention to the poker news and media. There's a lot of good stuff happening. That's all I can say right now.
Okay. I mean, there was the World Series of Poker announcement that just came out where that's going to be on ESPN this summer. Is there something else than that?
There's so much coming up that I can't tell you how unbelievable it is, even to me, that our industry is literally going to be tenfold bigger. It's thanks to, again, thanks to so many smarter people that got into the mix, and some from outside poker, some from inside poker. Again, I can't offer any more than just my excitement.
I will take your excitement, and I will do my own investigating, which I'm sure will yield me some information. So now I want to know what's happening out there. But I mean, I guess, you know, kind of mentioned the World Series stuff. Are you going to be doing that stuff too for the World Series poker coverage with all the ESPN2 shows for this July? That's
correct. So World Series will be live from day one. And yeah, it is.
It's crazy.
It's dream come true. It's not even, you know, World Series, and that's the show. That's what everyone in the world wants to watch and wants to follow. And now they're going to be following it live.
So what's the plan for this, kind of with the World Series of Poker coverage, when it's going to be live? Is it do you have something in mind? Because when I first heard this, I said, okay, well, it's probably been planned for a while. It's been discussed, but now, you know, there's a month-ish plus of sort of planning exactly what that show is going to look like. You know, are you going to shoot the well-known players on the edge and sort of like give them time and be able to tell stories, kind of like back in the day where you'd have these stories told over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. You got to know these guys and you followed along with them the next year. And it's like something like that potentially in plan for this year?
Well, what is, again, everyone that's watching World Series, or if they wish they were there, they'd like to follow the big names, the heroes of the game, as well as the characters that show up. So try to catch everything is impossible. I mean, that's just not possible on television. You can't have it all. So you try to pick and choose the best you can to tell the story. We are going to have some added people that you'd be happy to know that they're going to be out there just digging those stories up and actually bringing it to us live. So we could be in the middle of a hand, and when the hand is over, cut through to somebody that's in the field and has come across this 93-year-old that's playing, or the 21-year-old that just turned 21 and has a great story. So you would get a feel of the room. But as far as the coverage, look for it to be very similar to our coverage of the live event of the final table. So we are not cutting anything short. This is going to be a full-blown World Series of Poker coverage for ESPN.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea a lot, where you can go to people in this that are playing and say, this guy, Johnny from 31-year-old, qualified in the Bar Poker League, works at an office, and his dream was to come to World Series of Poker. Now he's finally here, and he's like excited. He saw all his favorite players, and I think the people watching that back home on ESPN are going to see that and be like, "Fuck, man! I mean, I got a shot. I know these guys. It's not like." Were you responsible for William Kassouf? Is that you? Is it you the guy to talk to about this?
About Kassouf?
You're the one that you helped make Kassouf, right? This is what we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. He was there. He was right in front of our cameras. How could a camera, not catch him? It's impossible. Anybody else would have been there. It would have just attracted him. He was trouble of the right kind. Let's put it this way.
Shout out to my buddy William Kassouf. I had him on the podcast a couple times. I like him. I don't know. I bought some stock in Will Kassouf. I'm hoping he makes a nice run here at the World Series. I hope something goes down with Will Kassouf, man, because last year, I mean, that was like the biggest talked about story happening in poker was Will Kassouf, all his table talk, the stuff with Stacy, the stuff with Jack, the stuff obviously with Griffin at that final table. It got so much this mainstream coverage, and it's sort of like, it was pretty crazy to see how much coverage that incident and then those sort of interactions that he had out there in mainstream.
I'm hoping he comes up with a new idea that doesn't exactly slow the game down, but still very interesting to very interesting to watch and listen to when he's playing. And I get kids ask me, so what do I do? Like if I make it to the feature table, here's what I suggest. As much as I hate any kind of scripted material, I don't ever want poker to be scripted. You're sitting there, and and if it's scripted, you're gonna feel it. Audience would know that's no good. The reason many of the poker shows got successful because it happened. It was really like as natural as it could be, and you could feel it. But that doesn't mean that you can't prepare for something ahead of time. That is fun. I mean, I don't know what that could be, but for example, I always thought when we had hole cards, if you could just make like a message, show it to the hole cards, like, I'm going to bluff this guy or something that nobody knows, but we see it. So you're looking at your cards, but next time you're looking at your cards, this little thing that's you've written maybe on your finger says, "Watch me bluff," or "Watch me," or something. Okay, so to me it's scripted, but it's not. It's somebody brought in something to make it fun, So I think a lot can happen as long as it's not out of line. Some of this stuff, even with Kassouf, just went over. You don't want to do that. You don't want to interfere with the game, but you want to interact with the audience. That's what I'd like to see somebody do. Do not interfere with the game. Do not do anything that would be unfair to your competition. They're there trying to win 8 million or 10 million or whatever, the big prizes. That
right.
None of us get into the World Series thinking that we're just going to make the cut. We're there to win that big prize. So don't interfere with that, but interact with the audience. So if you can come up with that philosophy, you'll be a good player to be on TV.
Can you play the main? You played the main event before?
I played the main event for many years, but not since they've been producing it. Last time I played it was 2009. So starting 2010 or 11, I got my dates all messed up.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in poker for quite a long time, playing and working with it. So I'd imagine it gets jumbled. I mean, for me, it gets jumbled. I've been playing poker so long online, it all gets jumbled. Like, when did you do this? When did you do that? I'm like, man, I don't. 2010, 11. Like, I can't remember sometimes. So it all sort of blends in. And as you get older, I'm getting old now. So I'm an old Mori. I'm not a young guy anymore. So now my mind's even going worse. And I don't know what's going on here. So
I like what Doyle said. It's not, our mind is not going anywhere. Just keep playing. He said, what did he say in Poker After Dark? He said, we don't get old because we quit playing.
Right, we don't go because we quit playing. We something.
We don't, but let's remember, because it was a really good quote. He said, we don't quit playing because we get old. We get old because we quit
playing. Yeah. Yeah.
So don't quit playing. You won't get old. I promise. I mean, it really does keep you sharp. The game keeps you sharp. And at times that I haven't played all of a sudden 4 or 5 or 6 months, sometimes I just get wrapped up with work and family and all that, and I can't play. When I go in and play, I feel like you're in the gym and lifting that weight. I feel like your brain just kicks into a different gear. You have to, so poker is an amazing game. It is. And there's going to be more discoveries. I'll bet you more scientific discoveries coming, just as far as, like what other effects does it have in your brain than just winning money.
I wonder what those are going to be. I'm very curious to see. I don't know how many scientists might actually be studying that, or even how you could study. I mean, I guess it would have been interesting to take someone who started playing online poker maybe 8-9 years ago and mass tabled and see exactly what happened to their brain over that 8, 9, 10 year period of time. Maybe someone has done that and I don't know about it, but that would be quite the interesting study to have out there. So let me get some shouts in the chat. Kelly Winterhalter in the chat, guest of the podcast. What's going on, Kelly? Also, we got McGabble1, Corey'sman91. What's up, puppy? We got CG over there on Twitch. Annie, Catherine. You want to give a shout out, Maury? You got a shout out? You want to give somebody out there might be watching?
Sure.
Who you got?
Well, I know Sam is watching.
Shout out to Sam. Of course, Sam's watching. He's making sure nothing goes wrong here. Sam's got to stay on top of his job.
I can't believe he doesn't have an IT in town that just travels around like within 5-minute notice. We need him. Sam, we need an IT guy. All of a sudden, for everyone that's over 60.
Sam, make sure you get on top of that. If you want Maury to stick around, you're going to need to get him an IT full-time, please. Sam, I'm going to do it. Sam will probably do it. I don't know, man. I'm going to see a Facebook. I just saw a Facebook post about he's looking for a graphic designer. Now we're going to see one where he's looking for an ad guy. So it certainly could be possible. There's one question, Maury, that I have to ask you, and it's the most important question in the entire world right now for Poker World. And that is, when is high-stakes poker coming back, and why is it not currently back? How can this possibly not be going on right now?
Okay, well, if the question is about a brand name, does it have to be called high stakes poker?
No, I guess not.
The question should be, when are cash games similar to what we had in high stakes poker coming back?
Yes, that can be the question.
I have 2-word answer for you. Boy. Very soon. Actually,
yes.
Three words. It was actually 3 words. Very, very soon. That's what I should say.
Very soon. Here, Jonah, put that on Twitter. Maury says high stakes poker coming back very, very soon. Potentially with a different name though. Make sure you put that down.
It's coming back in so many. The quantity will be so many. There'll be so many more shows of that nature for people to enjoy. I can't wait for it to start, because cash games is the background that I come from. Mm-hmm. I may, when it comes to tournament formatting and all that, I may be the guy just say, come on, let's get it going, because I used to get in the tournament, start at noon, and be at a winner by 2:00 in the morning. And now it's 3 or 4 days. Obviously, if you're a tournament player, you're looking what is the right, the sweet spot to work for your style of game. So I can never comfortably talk about what I want to see a tournament format be. Mm-hmm. But cash games, I'm very comfortable talking about it. And that's what I did for 25 years. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of high-stakes style cash games.
Mm. Well, I personally love to hear that. I mean, I can definitely relate to what you say about cash games too. I don't really know much about tournaments. I've basically only played cash games my entire poker career. So that's sort of the thing I enjoy the most, what I understand the best. I would prefer to see a little bit of the great game of Pot Limit Omaha, Maury. You think we can get a Pot Limit Omaha special high stakes poker edition? I mean, can this possibly be? Can we get one of those?
if you remember Poker After Dark, we actually had a week of Pod Limit Omaha, and
Yeah,
it was
you gave us 12 episodes with 2 director's cuts out of like 300. So I appreciate that from the great game, but can we get some more? What do you think?
not only we will have Pod Limit Omaha, we will also have high limit mixed games.
Oh, okay. I know CG in the chat right now. You had that question when I'm going to see a high stakes horse game on TV. So we might see some high stakes mixed game, huh?
High stakes mixed game will be there. So there'll be all sort of cash games, but of course the Cadillac of cash games, No Limit Hold'em, will dominate.
Fuck.
But that doesn't mean Pod Limit Omaha will be there. Pod Limit Omaha will be there. You know, I have tough times check raising in Pod Limit Omaha. That's why I don't like the game that much. Can you really check raise as much in Pod Limit Omaha? No. I'm just messing with you.
Well, technically, I'll give you an answer. When it is a little bit deep stack, most live games play deeper stack. So oftentimes when you do check raise, you're going to get called when you're super deep, and the board's going to change so much on the turn. Going to put yourself in some tough spots. Might not always be the best thing to be check raising flops in PLO when you're super deep. So to answer your question, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Puggy. I think you do because. I know
of him for sure, but know of him for sure.
You know of him, yeah, of course. He passed away almost 15 years ago.
Yeah,
and he was a character. He was one colorful character of the past that like people have seen him would tell you. People that were around, like we haven't had somebody like him, not even in today's standards. Puggy would always say, "Take the larceny out of poker, and we have no game." Meaning bluff. That's what meant by it. Which game do you believe that has more bluff in it than any other form of poker? If you put all the poker games, just put those plaques in front of you. Start up from Limit Hold'em, Badusi, Stud, 8 or better, Omaha, Big O, whatever. Put all of them in front of you. Which game will have the most opportunity for bluffing?
Raz.
No. It has to be No Limit Hold'em. It has to be. Think about it. It's just weird. And that's why it is such a popular game. That's why it's such a popular game. So do you have as much bluffing in Omaha, in Pod Limit Omaha, than No Limit Hold'em?
Unfortunately, there is not the same amount of bluffing, I don't think, in PLO as there is in No Limit Hold'em.
If what drives, at least in my mind, what drives poker is disguise, bluffing, the human elements of the game, how to dance around of you and deliver different ways. I always used to say, mixing up your game is not playing aces and then the 7 deuce. Always said mixing up your games is how do you deliver quality hands. Sometimes you play the aces this way, sometimes you play another way, and that part of poker is amazing. And of course, add to that the elements of bluff, explodes your mind. And if you bring up games that doesn't have those elements, at least enough of it, I lose interest. I mean, I'm not saying if everybody else does or no. When it comes to my taste, I need to have those elements in the game to get me going. And again, I'm not taking this away from Pod Limit Omaha. I think it's a great game. I played it. I know I enjoy it. I know you enjoy it. I'm not taking it away. But I'm saying all these new games that I see, those elements are diminished to almost nothing. Like, there is no disguise. There is no bluffing. It's just a matter of knowing the value of your hands. Okay, to me, that's like going back to the math school. I don't want that.
Dang, man.
That's what I want.
Can't. Certainly is some bluffing in PLO, but I mean, I don't know. I think, yeah. I got nothing to say, man. PLO, you're shooting down the dream of PLO there, man. But such a great game, though. I can't help it. But I mean, I guess to me, when I think about it, there's, I haven't played Hold'em so long here, so I try to think about the aspect of bluffing, and I do think there is a lot of element of bluffing in PLO, just the board changing so much. But I would imagine that there is a bit more of it in no limit hold'em possible because you only have 2 cards in that spot. So there's going to be less hands of value overall. So you're going to have to bluff a bit more potentially.
Well, look, PLO is a great game. I'm just saying the reason hold'em, no limit hold'em is so popular. I think those elements live in it a lot more than other games that are out there.
Guys, I'd like to announce that I will be retiring from the great game of Putnam and Omaha. I'm going back to my roots as a no limit hold'em player. I'm going to become an old home player. No, I don't know about that. No, do not put that on Twitter. No, do not tell anybody that. Come on.
Right, I'll bet you're getting like 20 messages. Seat open in my game, Joey.
Oh, no, bang, bang. I know. Probably like, oh, let's get this let's get the 4-card guy back in. Yeah, man, I don't know. I played so many, like the first couple of years I played, I don't know, like 5 or 6 million hold'em hands. And then once I switched over to PLO, it just suits my style. Mori, I mean, I'm not a big fan of folding the 3-bets personally. Just you get 3-bet. I'm not there to fold. I'm here to call. PLO, you can just call everyone. You know, hold'em, you make a call with 9s. The flop comes Jack, Queen, 3. The guy c-bets, you call. Turn 4, guy bets 75% pot, and you're like, what? I don't know. You know, you're in a weird spot. It's not fun for me.
Once you get into no limit hold'em, I mean, just it really is. You can create your own rules while you're playing.
True.
Don't say it's boring. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, 2 cards boring." There's been games. I'm not saying nowadays. My head really is not into poker. I mean, it's into TV and not poker side of it.
Right.
Like for example, you get into a game and you make yourself, you challenge yourself. You say that during the next 3 hours or 4 hours, I am going to play 10 hands without looking at my whole cards. And I just feel the situation is like. Do it. Look what it does to you. Just say yourself 10 hands you're going to play. And I'm not saying, look, don't go off. I'm not saying, don't throw your money out. But just look, it's amazing. You know, like little things that you can create a game within the game that's in your head. And you're playing, you're pretending you're looking at your cards, you're not. And you're just playing like a certain amount of hands, 5 hands, 6 hands that you're going to just feel the situation is right. The guy 3-bet, I'm making the 4-bet in there. I'm not looking at my cards. And I'm going to make a c-bet and look what happens. Good news is, like so many, if you get the feel from the players, if you really feel it, good news is you actually will come on top. This may shock you, but you will actually see a profit. But besides that, it elevates you to a place in the game that you didn't know it existed. And you can really get into the trenches without like looking at whole cards. I think that's what Tom Dwan does, by the way. I'm calling him out on this. I have a feeling that's what he does. I never like paid it finger movements when he was looking at the whole, but I have a feeling he's done that quite a few times.
So first of all, if anyone heard that comment, that was actually low-key one of the best pieces of strategy to get exceptional at the game of poker once you already reach a certain level. But I think everyone's going to hear that and think it's like kind of a joke. But seriously, just that idea of a toy game, a game inside of game, and building these sort of games and scenarios and situations while you're playing is how you gain unique edges when you do play poker. And second of all, I want to officially issue the Mori Eskandani challenge, which is you go out there and play 10 hands blind. You hit us up on Twitter. Let us know how it goes. Did you win? Did you lose? What did you learn? It's the official Mori Eskandani challenge.
Now, it shouldn't be 10 hands in a row now. Come on, kids.
Shit, 10 hands total, not 10 hands in a row.
In a session. You're going to have a 6-7 hour session. 10 of those hands you never looked. You just played with your eyes. Just imagine you're that ninja warrior that, you know, you close your eyes and here's your sword and you're out there. I know kids like that. So
the Mori Eskandani challenge officially live. Please, if anyone out there does this, let us know what it yields. Let us know what happens. Let us know if you win. It might actually get you to loosen up your game a little bit, find some new spots. I mean, I don't know. I like the challenge, man. That sounds like a fun challenge. I'm gonna think about doing something like that, Jonah. I'm gonna think about doing something like that here. I'm trying to think about the high stakes poker. So what's your favorite high stakes poker moment? So when you think back, there was what, 7 or 8 seasons. What's one of the moments that stands out the most for you? Because to me, I got a few, and I want to know what yours are.
Well, my favorite day that I would never forget, that was just up and down of laughter and anger and everything behind the scene, was when Freddie Deeb and Bob Stupak and Sean Shike, Daniel Negreanu, Johnny Chan. I don't know if you guys remember that episode that somebody told Freddie Deeb. I think Johnny Chan started it. So Freddie Deeb took a break, and somebody said, "Where did he go?" And he said he went south, meaning like going south.
Yeah.
You know. So when he came back, the guys started kidding around with him. Said, "Where did you go? You went south? Oh, you went south." And all of a sudden, that became like a big fight. And not fight, but yelling and screaming and stopped the game. We literally didn't play for 15 minutes. It was just arguments going back and forth. There was an older gentleman playing in there. His name was Bob Stupak. I don't know if you guys know Bob Stupak. He was a casino mogul from the past. He actually started the Stratosphere. He wanted to become Las Vegas city mayor, but he was a character. So he would keep telling me, "Get me to the show and I will bring you $1 million. Get me to the show and I put $1 million in front of me." He kept telling me that. I finally called his bluff. "You're in this season, $1 million, right?" "Right." 100%? "Yes, $1 million." So you're a week from the show. "Bob, this is the time. This is when the cards are in the air. We were playing at the Golden Nugget. We're blah, blah, blah. You got $1 million, right?" "Yes, I got $1 million. Was it, again, I'm sorry if I got the venue wrong. We could have been at the South Point. I can't remember where, but it was one of those venues. I think it was Golden Nugget. I think it was. So, yes, I got the million. I guess. Day before, and I always did this with the poker players because I know poker players have tough time keeping time. Always kept following up. 2 months before the show, 2 weeks before the show, 3 days before, and a day before. I know it was annoying, but I think some of them appreciate it because, hey, we're starting at 3 o'clock.
Right.
So I see Bob coming in from the distance. He's late coming in, 10, 15 minutes. And I see a security carrying a bird cage. For people that don't know what bird cage is, it's plastic rack that you put all your chips in it. And it's like a cage that you hold, but it's see-through, so you can see what is inside. I see a lot of racks, but they're all black colors, meaning they're $100 chips. That can't be $1 million. Million chips. So
lag. No lag. I know. Come back. He's frozen. Right in between the story. No. What happened? He's frozen like he's in deep thought now too. Guys, live technical difficulty here. Mori froze. The Bob Stupak just took down his internet. This is what Joey's nightmares are made of. I know. Oh man. Bob Stupak just took down Mori's internet here, and we'll never know what happened. Potentially a story unless he comes back. Let's see. I know what a cliffhanger. I know what happened. Did he have $1 million? Did he bring it in? Did he not have $1 million? Did he have 100,000? What did he have, man? I don't know. It's not Skype, guys. It's Google Hangouts. But guys, sometimes we're technical difficulties. Sometimes things happen here. We are live. Big shout out to everybody watching here on Twitch, watching here on YouTube. Shout out to Matador 13 Hours. Shout out to Nasty Nate, Alec, Let It Are, Craig Bell, Adam Day, McGavel 1, Aurora Chad, Jonah Bella, Big Puppy out there, Chris M. My buddy Glenn McRoy from the Bar Poker Open. Make sure you guys, I don't think you guys can actually play if it's in Vegas this summer. Oh, Maury's back? Nope. He died? Is he coming back? He might be coming back. We'll see. I hope so. We're going to wait. We want to hear the end of the story here. Robert Katarina, Chris M out there. What's up, puppy? What's happening, man? Glenn, can anyone join the Bar Poker Open this year for the event? Let us know. Switch Pain. Who else we got out there? Oli Varula, Andy Millsaps, Noob Neil. What up, Noob Neil? I like that name. Matthew Dent. See what else we got? One hand sample size. Jeff Gem. Joshua Ruiz, Papi Ralph, Hewagite, Trevor Gill out there too. Electro, jinxed it, I guess, just joined. Yes, you did jinx it, my friend. You definitely did jinx it. Mike Russell out there as well too. Jones, you text, can you get my phone real quick? Let me send him a message, see if we can get him back on. Maybe his internet went down. He was having a little bit of issue beforehand, before we got started with the issue. What'd you say? We'll see if we can get it back in. If you're watching this back on replay, just fast forward ahead a couple minutes and see if back in. I know such a good story. I'm texting him right now. We'll see what happens. I know. Billy Costigan, what's up, puppy? Scarlet's J. Babito, Karamo, man. Glenn McCoy says, head to Nevada Poker League, win a seat there, or just play in the open events at the GN. I forgot which casino GN is, Glenn, in Vegas. So you're going to have to tell me which casino GN is. Golden Nugget. The Golden Nugget, if you want to, if you want to do that. When said, if you're watching on replay and notice that the stream ends in like 2 minutes, you can go ahead and cut it now. That is very true. You can go ahead and cut it now if you know stream ends in a couple minutes. But we're going to wait here for a couple minutes for Mori to come back. We're going to get the end of the story potentially here. And I definitely do have more questions about high stakes poker because, I mean, it's my favorite show of all time. And I love this show so much. If you guys are on Instagram and you don't follow me on Instagram, check out Poppy GTO and follow the Wizard Assistant, who somehow his name is Jonah on Instagram now. So he's one of the most big time people now. He ends up getting his own name. Jonah is his first name. I don't know how that's possible, but yes, man, give me some questions, guys, while we're waiting here, man. Give me some questions. We got a big week of podcast guests coming up next week. Super high roller bowl week. We have Matt Berkey, Phil Hellmuth, Mike McDonald, Jason Kuhn, PLP, and I'm excited. Jonah, you tweeted out 10 times during this thing, Poppy? My God, kid, don't be tweeting us so much. Just save it, man. You can't be tweeting that. You can't be tweeting all that stuff out, Poppy. Deal? We put Jonah in charge of social media manager, and he's tweeting out a storm, it looks like here. So people liked it? All right. Perfect. We'll see what happens here. So, all right, Mori's he's back. What's up, Mori?
No, it is my internet, guys. Sorry.
It's okay. So, Mori, you're told the story. There's a bird cage. He's walking in the table. He's got the black $100 chips in there. You say there's no way it can be $1 million. And then you were like this, and it just froze on your face like this. And then we're like, what happened? What's going on here? All right, let's get back. What happened here?
So he said, when I pushed him, like, you're bringing the million, right? You're bringing the million. He said, I'm bringing somewhere between the $100,000 and $1 million. So his story was changed a little bit, but I said maybe somewhere between $100,000 and $1 million, maybe $400,000 or $500,000. I just wanted him to put a lot of money on the table, as he, that was a deal he made with me to play in the game. He had $102,000 in that bear cage, $102,000, all in $100 chips. So you can imagine he had 10 racks of $100 chips. He wanted to put that on the table, which I had to stop him in the hallway, have the security and him go back to the cage and change it to something manageable. Obviously, it was too late. He wasn't going to put up $1 million in there.
Right.
He played 3 hands the entire time. And I don't know if you watch and if you watch his interview in the green room, in the feature room, as he's smoking his cigarettes, he would opine about the game, and everyone was inferior to him. He would say, aside from myself, I think the best player in the game is Mimi. Mimi was like winning every hand at that time. Mm-hmm. I was just like, is this really happening? This guy played 3 hands, brought 120,000 or 102,000 or something weird. It was over 100, as he said, between 100 and $1 million. And to me, that day, everything was outside of poker. Then the fight happens. Then everyone like going after one another. The game has stopped, and Stupak is going around and taking Rose's from the rose bushes that we had and putting in front of people. Calm down, let's just play. It was a twilight zone of high stakes poker that day. My favorite hand of the game of the seasons was obviously the aces and kings that you mentioned between Sammy Farha and Jamie Gold. It was such a funny hand. 2 minutes into the hand, every single player at the table knew Sammy had aces and Jamie had kings, just by the conversation. Then Sammy raised and says, "You have aces, don't you?" I mean, who would say that? Somebody that has kings, right? No, you don't have. If you have queens, you don't say you have aces, don't you? You don't say that. Right. So everyone knew it, and it was amazing how that whole thing played out. And it was so funny. It's so interesting that you saw that entire. We didn't take 10 seconds off of that. There was nothing was edited. We actually went to commercial and back and forth, and the hand was going. It was like half the show. Another favorite moment that I have, I think I've mentioned this to you, but this was pretty amazing. Tom Dwan was the biggest winner. He was winning $1 million. Most of it in cash. The game is over. He has most of the money in cash in his backpack. There is, if you remember the show, we had always an ice sculpture that said Golden Nugget. So we were taking the ice sculpture and staging it outside an alleyway, putting lights on it. And Tom was wearing a goggle, and he was supposed to come in with a sledgehammer and break that ice sculpture. And then we would play slow motion backwards and showing that Dwan crushes another, high stakes cash game or something, like the crazy things that always came to mind in these shows. So we're all out there trying to do it. Of course, we have him take a couple of practice swings. Don't hit the ice. We only have one of these sculptures, and he hits it. I don't know how much I would make to the show or not. Okay, turn off the light. We're all good. We leave. Back of the Golden Nugget, back alleyway, is a dark alleyway. Like we lit it up with lights, and when you leave, you don't even, nobody's there. It's nothing but the garbage cans, and it's the back of the house for all these hotels. This dumpster and all that. So we leave. We are standing in the parking lot. I mean, at the valet, waiting for our car. This is 100%. He tells me, "Where's my backpack?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Where's my backpack? I know he put all this money in there." I mean, you know how people can walk. You think they have their backpack in the bag? I said, look, there's no backpack. We dash back into the hall, the back alleyway. It's open to the public if anybody wanted to walk back there. That backpack was sitting right by the dumpster where he put it, and nobody touched it. It had $1 million in it. So I told him, that would have been. I said, "Tom, you won your money twice. Wow. This season of high stakes, you won your money again." So. Yeah, crazy things happen during the high stakes, but a lot of stuff happened other shows too. It wasn't just high stakes. High stakes just had dramas to it somehow.
Yeah, I think my favorite hands when I think back my favorite hand is probably Sammy Farha versus Patrick Antonius when the $1 million pot, when they're talking and Patrick's like, no, I have a tree and a flush draw, and Sammy's like, "You're my customer. I can't. We got to play. I always play with you, Patrick." I mean, that hand is just. They run it 4 times. Patrick talks about bad. I mean, that's just that is definitely one of my favorite hands of all time in any sort of televised poker at all.
Well, all those guys actually made the show. I'm so thankful to every one of them. They were a good combination of players. That doesn't mean it can't happen again. There's, as I sometimes go into the poker room and play a little bit, I see a lot of characters. I mean, they're there. We just have to put the right groups together. If you, I'm sure you have a couple of buddies that you just love to play with. That's what makes the game. Mm-hmm. Because sky's the limit of what you guys can tell to one another, and there'll be no hard feelings whatsoever. I mean, even the commentator, Gabe Kaplan, Gabe would pick on Doyle every single session. Nobody picks on Doyle. But Gabe and Doyle are such good friends. It didn't matter. We knew it. And Gabe would just like, every time Doyle would say something, would do something, Gabe commentating, we would go right after him. Give him a needle or something. Made it funny. So, yeah, for sure. It was a good bunch of people. And of course, Gabe and AJ made the show fun too.
Yeah, they were obviously pretty great commentators to have on there. And I think when you did the change to Norm, I know some people weren't necessarily happy about that change going down, and definitely had a little different vibe to it than Gabe was commentating on the show.
Right. Yeah, it was other commentators coming in were good. You get used to you get used to something. It's hard to change, but the show didn't go on long enough to see how it would have shaped. But Gabe and AJ definitely were my favorite to be in the voice room with. We would laugh and laugh and laugh before we voiced one show. It'll be just like you're going to another show. it was behind the scenes shows. Those should have been taped.
Yeah, I'm thinking more now in my head. I'm just definitely the 500K buy-in episode where the music changes, dun, 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 like the music changes, the whole entire they're wearing suits on there. Gila Liberté's in the show. Everyone's got 500,000. Guy and David Benjamin play that massive hand, or David stands up, and Gabe has that quote, looks like he's going to be sick. And there's like, this is a day in your life. This represents your life, represents a day in his life. And he's like, I hope this doesn't represent a day in my life. I mean, man, you want to take the money back? Yeah, you just take the pot out. I mean, man, that hand is just another great hand, another classic hand of poker right there.
It's, like the best way to put high stakes poker, the more we talk about it, even during my career of playing poker, I can pick years that were extraordinarily fun. And I'm not talking about winning or losing. Like, you look forward going into the poker room because they were characters that played with you every day that just made the game so much fun. I'll give you like one experience. I used to play 7-card stud with a legendary player. By the way, when you say legendary, they all have to be over 60 or passed away. He's passed away.
Okay.
His name was Danny Robinson. Danny was amazing 7-card stud player, and we had a lot of fun together. We played maybe 15 years at the same poker table every day, Danny and I. And there wasn't a day that we didn't have so much fun. We could have been stuck our lungs in the game, but the laughter never stopped. I mean, it just made people attracted to the game. So I remember, like, to give you guys, I know the new school of poker haven't seen things like this, but we were playing at Caesar's Palace, old Caesar's Palace, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I got to set the scene for you. 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's 4 of us. Danny and I are playing, another gentleman, I'm not going to mention names, and a tourist. And the one person that we were playing with that also was a pro in town, sort of, he had a habit of combing his hair when he was nervous. He would just take his comb out and start combing his hair. And the more nervous he got, the more he combed his hair, like, that it will go once every 5 minutes to once every minute to one every hand. So Danny and I are doing good, and we can see this guy is pretty nervous. In the meantime, a lady shows up, the cleaning lady, and starts vacuuming from far corner of the poker room. But we could see the man's expression. He was just very unhappy, annoyed with the vacuum noise at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, that can resonate. And it was echoing in the room. And he's trying to play, and vacuum is going, but it was far. It was far corner of the poker room. Danny looks at me and gets up. And he didn't have to say one word, just one look. I knew something was up right away. He goes over and he gives $25 chip to the cleaning lady and asks him to come over and tap the guy on the shoulder and say if he could move his chair so she can vacuum under his chair. He comes back and sits down. He's got that smile on his face, and I know it. And the vacuum cleaner is coming closer and closer to our game. And the guy's comb is going faster and faster and looking at this woman. And what is she doing? Like, finally, the woman comes over and taps him on the shoulder. Sir, would you move your chair? He picked up the ashtray. Yes, they were smoking there, full of cigarettes, and threw it halfway across the room and says, go vacuum that. And then when he saw Danny and I laughing so hard, he knew we set it up. I mean, the lady is not coming tapping him on the shoulder all of a sudden, then we vacuum under your chair. So I'm just, memories that I will never forget. Things that happen, I mean, there's 1,000 of them. Seriously, I can start thinking 1,000 fun memories. That was such a big part of poker. That was such a big part of poker that's lost. I don't see it as much, and I hope it comes back. High stakes poker was sort of that era of, like if these guys were here now and we were playing some other shows, it would have happened. So I just want to give a lot of credit to the players. The players were just happened to be a perfect mix to make that show so great.
Mm. Have you got a book out there? Have you ever written a book with some of these stories at all?
No, there's so many people that have so many stories from the old days. There should be a collection of like 10 of us writing a book, not just one. There'll be a lot of funny stories.
Well, as an official author, shout out to me. I wrote a book. I had a prop bet. I wrote a book in 11 days earlier this year, and I published it. I've never really written anything before. So as an author now, Mori, I might look into this. I don't know, man.
Okay. I can give you exactly the right names. Start with Mike Sexton, and then get going.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had Mike Sexton on the podcast last November, and man, he's got, yeah, I mean, you obviously know, he's got some epic stories, man. His story, he tells stories in such a great way too, that you're just like, man,
I'll give you one name that will be unanimous in the poker world. If you can get him to tell you the stories and write the book, I promise you will be the #1 seller book of poker. But you really have to go after him because nobody can get him.
Who's the person?
He just says no. His name is Eric Drake.
Interesting. We might have to find him when we're out in Vegas. I don't know. I know a lot of people, so I can always talk to people. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. If only he went to the nightclub, then I can for sure.
No, Eric Drake was the original tournament director of World Series of Poker for 16 years. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And he actually, when we put Poker Superstars and Poker After Dark together, he worked with me very closely to get these shows formatted and talked about it. Yeah, he still plays poker, and he is somewhat retired. People don't see him as much, but that man has more stories than combined total of the next 10 person that I can think of.
Jonah, you heard that name, right? Wizard, you got that? All right, set it up when we get to Vegas, man. We're finding Eric here, man. We're gonna try to see what we can find out from him.
There you go.
People are mentioning some names in the chat. Obviously, some of our favorite podcast guests and stories of all time. Are we going to potentially see maybe a return of some guys like a Viffer or Sam Farha, or Tom Dwan might come back from Asia and maybe play in some of these games? Are we going to be able to see maybe some of these old school guys who played on the old seasons of high stakes poker potentially back on some of these future shows?
They are definitely going to be invited. I've actually invited Sami Farha to a few shows in the past. And I can't remember how the conversation went. He was going to play, but he couldn't make it. And like a couple of final high stakes, he didn't get to play in. But I'd love to get those. Tom Dwan for sure. I think Tom Dwan will be playing poker forever. So we'll get them back. We'll get some of the old schools back. The combination will be a little different, but I think they can still produce. Who are
your favorite new school guys? Who are the kind of guys that you like that maybe been coming up in these past few years that you enjoy sort of watching or would love to have on the show?
I don't want to. I mean, I don't know if you call Daniel Negreanu or Antonio Sfandiari new school. I don't know if
Not really, no.
they're very new school, but they're not exactly. I think my mind goes. Who finished second in the Super High Roller Bowl last year?
Oh, the young Prince, Fedor Holz.
Absolutely. I'd like to see more and more of him in the cash games for sure.
Yeah, I think he'd probably be down for that. Oh, he's kind of, we just had him on the pod. He's entrepreneur life officially now, but he does still play a lot of poker. He's going to be playing the High Roller Bowl, of course. He's got all his German horses in that event too. So you're going to
roll up his sleeves and get ready to get down and dirty. We always said once you win the World Series of Poker main event, you have an immediate seat open for you in high stakes poker, because that's where you validify yourself. You won the tournament, but now let me see you take the gloves off and see how you fight.
Yeah, I remember when Jamie Gold came on there and tried to validate his victory in the World Series of Poker main event, and could have went better. But it was very, 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 very entertaining, and some of the most entertaining.
You will never be forgotten, that's for sure.
Best bluffer in the world, Jamie Gold. I mean, you won that. I think you won the title. So congratulations, Jamie. I think he is the best bluffer in the world. Who did Dennis Phillips played on there too after he won the main event, and who else played? Eastgate, I think, played on there too after he won the main event as well. He had a pretty famous hand with Tom Dwan and Barry Greenstein. And what other main event champs were those the three that played on there?
Yeah, there's more. There's more. I mean, I have to go back and look. As we were talking, I'm trying to cheat.
Yeah, I always like that though, because you'd throw in some of these online up and comers like a Brian Townsend on there, and you throw in the World Series of Poker main event champs. You'd mix it in with the old school guys like the Barry Greenstein and Doyle Brunson, and Johnny Chan would be playing on there, and Helmuth would show up once in a while. So it's just I don't know. I could talk about high stakes poker obviously for a long time. I literally watched every season multiple times. It's when I was coming up and grinding every day online poker, I would be watching high stakes poker while I played 24 tables of 25 cent, 50 cent, and just grind it for 12 hours a day. So it's definitely my all-time favorite probably television show of all time.
I'm sure everybody would love to see Martin Jacobson play in the high stakes cash games, because he showed so many moves, and that we've seen him in the final table only in the tournament style, but I have a feeling he's got a lot of moves to him.
Key Win. He's got moves. Key Win's got moves. That sick rabbit, that sick raccoon hat.
Key Win has. Oh, absolutely. He would be great too. Mm-hmm. He would be. He's got open invitation to all the cash games if he's listening. Come on in, Key.
Key, if you're out there, seat open for you, man. But it sounds like there might be some recording going on sometime very soon, because we did get the Super High Roller Bowl cash game as well. I think we got that 1 year maybe, or 2 years. I'm not quite sure. I think it was 2 years. I know Aussie Matt played on the last one too, so I don't remember how many of those episodes were, but we have been getting a little bit of cash games with the Super High Roller Bowl in the past.
Well, you had Super High Roller cash, but that cash game will come in a different format, but it was pretty high stakes too. I mean, you're talking about the one we played somewhat. One of them was very similar to high stakes. We had Doyle and Patrick and Phil, Ivy, and those guys in there. Yeah, there'll be all sort of variety of cash games coming up. I think people are going to get all of their cash games fix very soon. They'll be glued on how many different kind of cash games with how many characters, and even some other ideas within the cash games. That's going to come to that's all the viewing fans.
Guys, it's like being at a strip club when you see that very sexy girl in front of you dancing in her clothes, and you think you got her, you think you got a shot with her, and then she just teases you and walks away, and you never see her again. This is what it feels like right now, man. I feel like you're giving us that, you're showing us the naked sexy body, and now you're like, well, that's it. I'm out of here. Now we're like, whoa, what's that way? We wanted to see the show. So I guess we got to stay tuned. And is there a timeline potentially when this might be announced at all, or when we can expect to potentially hear some more?
You will hear more next month. Starting Sunday.
Poker Central is lagging lagging Maury's internet over there for him to not announce it. I think Sam Simmons is over there right now plugging with the wall, the cord of the wall.
That all makes sense. Okay.
I can't wait. Is the Super High Rollable, is that going to be streamed on Twitch this year, or is it just a CBS Sports the same as last year?
Super High Rollable will be on CBS Sports later, the edited version of it.
Okay.
But I let that be announced.
Okay. All right, because I don't, as much as we want to watch Higgins streaming it live on Periscope again this year, guys, we want to have everyone in the world have access to it. All the foreign people, the Euros that couldn't watch it last year, they had to find some untracked illegal stream. Mm-hmm. Jonah, of course, you were a guy looking for an illegal stream. So yeah, I know, man. We got to get this out there to the public this year.
Let's put it this way: if you'd like to watch Super High Rollable, every minute of it will be available. You'll soon know how to watch it. Not just Super High Rollable, but so many of the great World Series of Poker bracelet events, obviously main events, and like we said, very, very soon, tons and tons of cash games.
I know, teaser. I know, Maury, you're great at this teasing thing. I can tell I can tell you're thinking in your mind, all right, let's tease it here. Let's sort of get people excited.
Just think of this going to be all you can eat buffet of cash games. Just think of that.
You need a buffet. My God. Bang, bang, man. So people, this is a popular question. People want to know about getting paid to play on high stakes poker. Do the players get paid on there? I think maybe Daniel might have talked about this in the pod before too with me, but I can't remember for sure. So were players paid? They get an hourly to go on that show, or sort of how did that work out?
Well, I can only speak about what happened in the past. I don't know. We haven't made all the deals yet. I don't know how that's going to shape up. But in the past, the players got paid hourly rates to play. I mean, it was only fair. They were when we asked them to risk, especially in the games that were kind of it was put together quickly, and the players like, hey, do me a favor. Like, you need them. You need somebody to come. Always nice incentive. It wasn't a huge amount of. It didn't make any difference in their final results of high stakes. Believe me.
Getting a little bit of lag. Now I actually. Mark's still there? Did he lag out again? No. Come back. Poppy, no. Poppy, no. He's got the untracked. He's got the Poker Central just took him down again. Oh, my God. We got to get some more shout-outs. Shout out to Maury if you guys tune in. Thank you for watching this live right now. Oh, Maury, you're back. Wait, you're back. Maury, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, Poppy's back. I actually just realized what the announcement is, so now I understand why you have to wait, but I won't say it, obviously, too. But now I did. Now I remember I do know what the announcement actually is, so now it makes way more sense. Okay, let's take some questions from the chat out there. I can't tell you also. I got to tease you, too, like Maury did, because I can't tell you. David G says, hey, Joey, would you mind asking him how he went about sourcing the amateurs that played in high-stakes poker? People like Dr. Nasari, shout out to Dr. Nasari, who somehow my stepdad's friends with, and Freddie Shamanara, how did he choose who got to play? It's a great question. Wait, Maury died again. Oh, he's back. No, could be. No? Wait, I see him smiling. He might be frozen again, guys. We're live. Technical difficulties. No, bring him back. Bring him back, Earth gods. Internet gods, bring him back. Come on. Why are you doing this to poor Maury out there? Lagging him out like this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Guys in the chat, give me some shout outs again. Lost in Poker, Aurora Chat, Jeff Gem, Check Razor for subscribing on Twitch. Much love, Poppy. Grill on Twitch, Rounder for life. Jonah Vella at Jonah on Instagram. What's up, Jonah? I see you out there, buddy. I see you next to me right now in my room. Calm Energy. Who is this guy? Just tuned in. Maury is the legendary producer of High Stakes Poker, Poker After Dark, World Series of Poker for the past bunch of years. Poker Superstars, I think you mentioned too. I wasn't sure if he was in that one as well. And all of the best poker shows ever basically created in the entire history of poker. So I'll just say it like that. Oh, there are some ones I guess he didn't work on too that were pretty great. Mike Russell out there again. What's up, Poppy? Dubai Vlad coming in from Dubai. What's up, Dubai Vlad? Joshua Benton, first time I see you live. What's up, Poppy? What's happening right now? Chris Vieira, if you don't know who this is, then you ain't shit. I don't want to say it, but You know, I get it, man. We got some new guys to the table. Peanut Butter out there. What's up, Peanut Butter? J1 Lee. What's up, Poppy? What's happening, man? Let's get it. What's up? Let's get it. Who else? We got the best man. Let's see. Who else is in there? Mohammed. Hello, Mohammed. Hey, Jedamose. Who else we got out there? Brick Cone. What up, Brick Cone? What's happening, man? Raw stuff and shout out to the stalkers. I agree. Victor says, Joey, when will your hard copy of the book be out? And shout out to you for the awesome podcast. The hard copy of the book will be out very soon. Jans Peter Nielsen. What's up, Jans Peter Nielsen? How are you doing, Poppy? Switch Payne. What's up, Switcher? Obi, Free Mori. I agree. Ari Yanks. What's up, Poppy? What's happening, man? Papito, Papinga, Papacosa, Papacolomosa, Papacomosita. High Stakes Poker, the Great Game Edition would be a great one. So we're going to wait here for a little bit, see if we can get Mori back on here. Happened to us once. If you're watching again live, remember, just tune ahead. Skip ahead a little bit, and you'll be able to find me. Hopefully. Give me some questions from the chat. Hansen. Big J, my boy Justin Ortiz in the chat. What's up, Big Poppy? What's happening, brother? Nice to see you again, Justin. I'm sure I'll see you out in Vegas over the summer. Saw those gains right now looking good out there, kid. Keep hitting the gym, my friend. Bad Beat 831. Yo, Poppy, I remember you. Of course I remember you, you fuck boy. Come on, Poppy. Bad Beat 831. Try to ruin my play money challenge. I'll never forget you, man. Muhammad out there. Joey, I might lose my job because of you. I'm watching where you at. 2 a.m. where I'm at. Shout out to Muhammad. Watching at 2 a.m. I think you're in some foreign country right now. Maybe you're in Thailand. Might be in Thailand. That could be it. Joshua Benton said, when's the guest on? The guest is currently internet has broken. So we may see him back on. We may never see him again. We may only see him again come the Super High Roller Bowl. But yeah, we do got a fun week of podcasts coming up. I did already announce them already. I might as well say them again. Matt Berkey on Monday. Phil Hellmuth on Tuesday. Can you imagine me and Phil Hellmuth talking? I can't. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm pretty excited for that one, man. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Mike MacDonald, a.k.a. Mike McDonald, Timex, the man himself, and Jason Kuhn back on the podcast next Friday. Chris Vieira says, Poppy, we need to get you on fucking TV. Let's get Maury to get you your own show. Hit the real big time. Chris, you sound like Poker Central now. Shout out to Poker Central out there. You sound like them. Noob Neil says, Joey, please ask Maury if there's any chances of there being a website dedicated to streaming, broadcasting poker. Noob Neil, that's a great question, but I don't think Maury will be able to answer a question like that if he does know one. That may or may not be in the works. Craig Bell says, Jamie Gold is DDoSing him. Jamie Gold certainly might be DDoSing him. But we'll give him a couple more minutes back here and see what's going on, see what's happening. God damn, Sam got a picture with Chris Paul. How big time's that? All right, I got a text from Maury. He said, so frustrating. Sorry, it's all good, Maury, man. We got a lot of love for Maury. Peanut Butter says, so stoked about Phil Hellmuth's show. I'm excited about the Phil Hellmuth show, man. I'm telling you, man. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for that to go down. I got a lot of questions. Courtside at the Warriors game. I just got a lot of questions for Phil Hellmuth, man. I want to know more. I'm excited. I want to see if he plays the great game of Pop them in Omaha. I want to see if what about some of the home games he plays in the San Francisco area that I've heard a little bit about. Has some pretty big time people in those games as well. Sam Paco says, hope Hellmuth doesn't big time you. I don't think he's going to, but that would be quite hilarious if that did happen though. Bang, bang. Mohammed says, yeah, Papi, you should host the new show. I don't know exactly what the show would be, but you never know. Let's see. What do you say? SRG says, ask for a seat in the new high stakes poker Pop them in Omaha game. Well, I'd imagine that game is going to be very high stakes. And for me to play in that game, I'll have to sell a very large amount of action to play in a game where I'd imagine it's going to be in high stakes poker where people are probably going to buy in for $100,000. So yeah. Oh, Maury's back. What's up, Maury? Welcome back, Poppy.
I keep want to reboot the whole system every time. I don't know what's happening. I think Cox is doing something outside. They're just not telling me.
It happens, man. It happens. We're holding it down while you're leaving. Don't worry, Pop. We're holding it down in here. We're just reading our guest list for next week, and people are more than happy to wait. If you watched it, just well, you already see it now. If you're watching this back, you don't got to scoot ahead live. So where was I? I was saying something. Where the heck was I at with that, Jonah? Where did I leave this at when Maury froze on me last time?
Where we got the amateurs
Oh, correct. Yes. How did you decide which amateurs were going to play in the show?
Most of them played. Most of them were like year. Some of them monthly, bi-monthly. Some of them twice a year. Businessmen and recreational players that would come to the poker room and play. So we knew them as a lot of poker players know their businessmen friends that they play with, and it's always difficult to get them come and play. Like some of them were eager to play, some of them didn't mind. They just come and play. They didn't care what the outcome would be. If you're a doctor, you come and lose. What would your patients think? Look, to me, it was very simple. If you're wealthy, you can have many hobbies. Some would want to, do parachute jumping from airplane. Okay, some like to come and play poker with the best in the world, and to me, that's just a thrill. It's nothing beyond that. So, most of them we just knew. The circle of pros knew them, and we'd invite them to come. I can. There's only one billionaire player, Phil Ruffin, that he wasn't really in the circle of friends, but he got introduced to us by somebody that was interested to come and play in the high stakes, and he came in and actually won pretty good too. So we didn't invite him after that. I'm just kidding.
Big time Phil Ruffin, man. You're like, Phil, you're done. You're done on the show. So, oh man, do you have a favorite Poker After Dark moment? Because Poker After Dark obviously had a very long run. It was a great show. It felt like it was on every single night for 8, 9, 10 years or something like that. Is there a particular moment that stands out from all of those times on Poker After Dark?
Well, you mean besides from Sean getting under Phil Hellmuth's skin, and him calling me over, like I wouldn't even know what to do. He kept saying,
Maury, come on, are you gonna Maury, you fix this? Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've certainly heard your name quite a.
I mean, Phil and I are pretty good friends, but sometimes I have tough time reading him if he's serious or if it's just part of the act. I think he was seriously upset, and he kept mentioning, he knows he's got Annie Duke beat, and he knows, but of course Annie had kings. Favorite moments, I think Cowboys nights were kind of fun. We had themes for high stakes poker, and we were thinking, how are we going to have Chow Chang to be a cowboy? Because it was everybody was at like cowboy hats and dressed like and we were at South Point, and South Point has equestrian center that has all their cowboys gave us a hand with the opening of the show. There were like 50 of them that came on the stage, and we actually put some haze and stuff. We made it look like we were playing in somewhere down south, and mixed the poker players with their hats, with their cowboy hats, with the real cowboys. Of course, Doyle is the real cowboy, so Doyle fit in perfectly. But Chow did not fit at all. So it was funny how the camera would go around showing all the cowboys, and then, hey, what is this guy doing here? We had fun. Poker After Dark, the UFC night was fun. Mm-hmm. And we actually had the mic drop just like we were starting a fight. Oh, I'll tell you a favorite moment for Poker After Dark. It was Don Cheadle. I had a standing bet with Leanne Tweeden that if she could do the intro in one take, she won. But I would lay her price, like she'll get 3-1. And if she did it in 2, we break even. If she did it once, she won. If she did it in 3, she owed me something.
Oh. And
Leanne was awful good. I mean, I kept losing show after show because she would just come in and do the intro in one take. There was this one particular night, somehow she had a brain lock, and Don Cheadle was playing there too. So she would start, welcome to NBC's Poker After Dark. We have in seat 1, like she give you the player's name and an intro. And seat 2, Don Cheadle, Oscar-winning actor, like She would go around, and then she'd make a mistake. We have to start over again. So this went on for 3 or 4 times. And Don Cheadle says, "Leanne, may I?" And got up, got the mic, and Leanne sat in Don's seat. It was unbelievable. He just like walked over, reading the teleprompter like he's done it like 50 times. So he showed why he's such a great actor.
I mean, Don Cheadle he's a boss. I love his shows. I love him in Ocean's 11. I love him on what's the show on Showtime that he's on right now with Kristen Bell? You know what that one's called?
House of is it
House of Lies.
House of Lies.
Yeah, House of Lies. Yeah, I like that show a lot too. It seems like he played a lot. Does he still play a lot of poker? Do you know?
He's definitely, he loves the game. Don we've invited him in the Heads Up Championship games. He's showed up every time. And again, another guy that when you know these characters and then they do something like we talked about Bill Gates getting up and actually handing. Here's Don Cheadle. Obviously, you know, everybody knows, big time Hollywood actor. He shows up at the airport and the limo is not there to pick him up. And we always arrange for these guys to get picked up. This happened not once, but twice. And every time, like he calls or called him and said, "Man, I don't know what happened. I don't know why he's not there." You know, like you feel so terrible. You make arrangements, zillion things are happening, and this is one that shouldn't, you know, like this is easy. And here's his response every time. "Come on, don't worry about it. I'm already in the cab. I'll just grab a cab." I mean, like, and he really made you feel like he meant it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It wasn't, you know, like prima donna stuff that sometimes even I got from some of the poker players, you know, and because their food order wasn't exactly how it was supposed to be. Well, whatever.
Listen, man, you know how some of these big time guys give. It's not in the contract, Maury. They're not doing it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've only got a brief exposure to some of this stuff out there, and it's quite interesting. I can understand how, as you know, the talent, they get these sort of perks, and people treat them a certain type of way, and I can understand why they may feel like they need that every time, and how could they possibly exist without someone driving them around? Like, I can understand how some of these guys get that way from my experience with it over these past couple of years. So. But yeah,
I make sure every single one of them know they can needle me from here to the moon, and I'm announcing it to the whole world right now. Any game I get in, I am absolutely game. You can needle me from here. It doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. So if you want to slow roll me, that's fine. All is good. Okay. So now, here's what Brad Garrett did to me, and I didn't appreciate it. It really gave me a heart attack. We are on the stage at 1 o'clock, and we're a little bit late starting. So the filming starts at 2, and I always walk up there and give them my last, you know, just a few things that the producers ask me to say to the table. You know, show your whole cards like this, and if we ask you to, you know, do this, do it, whatever. If we ask you to move your chair a little bit because you're in the camera shot, all that. And I'm done with my 3-minute talk, and Brad Garrett says, "So how long is this going to last?" I said, it's, you know, you're playing all day today, and if you win, you're moving on to next day tomorrow. And he looks at me, "What are you talking about? I have a show to do at 4 o'clock. I said, "What?" He said, "I thought this was only going to be like a 2-hour gig. You're telling me you're here all day playing poker?" He had me. I mean, he absolutely had me. And I'm like, my head is exploding. I don't know, what do I tell this man? Of course you're playing poker, it's all day. And he's like, "I got a show to do. I mean, I'm booked to do a show at 4 o'clock. What are you talking about?" Oh my God. And he saw me like, but he saw me just to the point of that I've lost all the colors is, I am kidding, man. Oh my God. Thank you so much. But he had me. So, I'm not going to believe him anymore. That's for sure.
That sounds like a master troll to me, a master of fucking with people. So no one do that to Maury this year at Super High Roll Bowl or anything else, any World Series of Poker stuff, nothing like that. Do not give him a heart attack, please. How old are you, Maury?
I am 61.
61. Whew. I'll be 61 in 30 years. I'll be 61 at this point in time. So I feel like it's right around the corner now. I don't know. It's just, it seems, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy to think that 30 more years from now, I can't imagine what the world's going to look like. It'll be 2047. My God, I hope I'm alive by then.
Yeah, the mixed games are going to have 1,500 games. So you just start your year and playing the mixed game, and then when the year is over, one full round of games are played. You never play the same twice the entire year.
That actually could be. I mean, I don't know. That could be 30 years. You may give people a chance to make up poker games. It could be like a esports. I don't know if Alex Dreyfus and those guys in PokerStars has their wish, it'll be an esports poker game somehow. And I mean, I don't know. That certainly could be what happens.
Yeah.
What did Craig Bell says? Who's the biggest diva?
Oh, come on! Don't ask me.
I think the answer is no one.
I have a good answer for that. None of the poker players, seriously, they've never treated me in any way other than their race. So, I mean, I've seen them outside, with in a different setting to be a little bit, but in our settings, there have always been nothing but you see nothing that you've seen on TV. There's just been poker players. The very first experience that we had was Poker Superstars, and somehow the formats of the show got messed up, and I won't go into it. I had the guys play 16 hours a day. We filmed 16 hours a day for 5 days in a row to catch up with that show. That was very first introduction of Mori Eskandani to producing a poker show. And every single one of those players were right behind me. I mean, we would ask them, can you come at 3 o'clock in the morning? And they were supposed to play at 6 o'clock in the evening. But because we were so far behind, we were trying to catch up. They would show up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They would show up at 1 o'clock in the morning. They basically suffered that 5 days with us without one single person complaining about anything. So there you have it. The poker world is a beautiful world sometimes.
Peanut Butter says his Wi-Fi looks like it's from High Stakes Poker Season 2. Yeah, out there, there's a little internet sometimes, Peanut Butter. Come on, yeah, but it kind of does. I can understand what you're saying. So I guess but okay, so Maury, I guess let me see. We'll wrap it up at that. We've gone about 2 hours now with all this stuff. Anything else you maybe like to add for the people here with the Super High Roller Bowl coming up next Sunday starting?
Well, I think Super High Roller Bowl obviously has become the destination of seeing all the who's who of poker, the newcomers and some of the old school. But there's look to more shows coming in that will not be exactly at the same level of competition at Super High Roller Bowl, but it'll be more accessible to many of the people out there that are trying to make it into these events and in front of cameras. Super High Roller Bowl to me is a very kind of a super exclusive club. Not only you have to have incredibly skillful poker, you not only have to be very skillful in the game, but you also have to be willing to invest serious amount of money. I'm looking forward to Super High Roller Bowl to be a final destination to many of the players that are out there playing either smaller events and thinking, like, this has to be in my bucket list. Someday I'm going to be walking there and show that I can compete at the highest level. That's what Super High Roller Bowl is. You're competing at the highest level there is right now in poker. Also, look for Super High Roller Bowl, and I'm not going to go into details, to have a really beautiful home soon.
Mm.
So, and I mean by really beautiful, really beautiful. So like you were mentioning about the set being so nice, this is going to be kicked into a different level for poker, and it's so good for our industry. So super.
This year? Now they definitely cut him out after he said that. Of course the company.
Next year. Next year is for next year.
Next year, okay. Next year we can expect that.
Right.
All right, cool. Well,
maybe look outside of my window, see if Sam is out there with the internet. You know,
yeah, I don't know what Sam's doing. I think Sam drove over there right now, and he's like tugging, like, oh, I can't say that. So I don't know. I'm going to text him right now, see if he's out there. So, but Mori, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for fighting through the internet issues we've had here. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I loved hearing more about just all the shows and everything you've been a part of, and we look forward to watching this Rollable. And everyone out there, I'm sure, everyone was excited to hear what special potential shows might be announced very soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And I always say I feel so lucky to do what I love. And I really do love what I'm doing.
That's awesome, man. Guys in the chat, appreciate all the comments, all the questions. Let me know what you guys thought. Mori doesn't use Twitter. I don't think he has Instagram, so you can't go follow him and potentially stalk him too. But be back Monday, Matt Berkey. I think that's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern time as well. That's all we got. Much love, everybody. Peace out. Adios. Koromosa karamora. Mota. Adios. Goodbye.